The Las Vegas Raiders could make a surprising move in the 2025 NFL Draft by selecting edge rusher Jalen Walker with the 6th overall pick. While Walker's name has been discussed among potential candidates for the Raiders, it would undoubtedly cause a stir if his name were called on draft night. Let me explain why. If you ask me which part of the Raiders' defense I feel most confident in right now, I'd say it's the defensive line. However, despite Jalen Walker being an outside linebacker and edge rusher prospect, he could still be considered a viable option for the Raiders if they go for the best player available approach. That being said, there's a case to be made that another player may be a better fit based on need, and it's true that Walker hasn't been heavily linked to the Raiders this offseason. Yes, there has been some interest, which we'll dive into in just a moment, but even if the Raiders were to select him, it would still surprise many people. Jalen Walker is a standout talent, and although he didn't force any fumbles last season, he put up impressive stats: 61 tackles and 6.5 sacks for Georgia. His skill set is undeniable. Now here's what I want to know from you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how surprised would you be if the Raiders took Jalen Walker at number 6 overall? A 1 means you're not surprised at all, and a 10 means you're completely floored. I'm going to give it an 8. It would be a shocking pick, but not a bad one. It would be a little like the Brock Bowers pick, where the Raiders would clearly view him as the best player on the board, regardless of position. It's also important to note that the Raiders value relationships, and when they've shown interest in a player, it's often a sign they're serious. Right now, both Raiders general manager Dave Ziegler and head coach Josh McDaniels have shown a lot of interest in Walker. He had a top 30 visit with the Raiders, and they also met with him at the NFL Scouting Combine. As of now, Walker is the only linebacker prospect the Raiders have had a top 30 visit with, which makes him an intriguing candidate. Looking at his scouting report, Walker played outside linebacker in college but has the talent to be an elite edge rusher in the NFL. His athleticism is exceptional. He has a long frame and the burst to change direction quickly. That explosiveness and ability to stop the run would make him a versatile weapon for the Raiders. One of the most encouraging aspects of his game is his potential to cover tight ends, though he still has room to develop in that area. But the fact that he showed he could handle that responsibility in college speaks volumes about his versatility. The Raiders value versatility, which aligns perfectly with what Walker brings to the table. He won the prestigious Butkus Award in 2024 as the nation's top linebacker, and his potential to line up both as an outside linebacker and an edge rusher would be a huge asset to a defense that already has strong players like Aled Roberts and Devin White. Although they're both inside linebackers, Walker could add a dynamic layer to the Raiders' defensive scheme. If the Raiders go into the 2025 NFL Draft with the idea of taking the best player available, they could potentially find a long-term solution at linebacker and edge rusher with Jalen Walker. While some might argue that Las Vegas's linebacker core is one of the weaker units in the NFL, the Raiders could turn that narrative around with a versatile player like Walker. Walker's versatility is key here. Though he's primarily an edge rusher, he can also line up as an outside linebacker, making him a great fit for the Raiders, who value flexibility in their defense. Patrick Graham, the Raiders' defensive coordinator, loves having versatile players who can impact the game in multiple ways. I think Walker could make an immediate impact in his rookie season, potentially adding 5 to 7 sacks, depending on how he's used. Watching Walker's tape, you can see he's an elite athlete. Don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing him directly to players like Trayvon Walker or Will Anderson, but there are similarities in terms of his freakish athleticism. His skills would make him a nightmare for opposing tackles, and teams will find creative ways to use him. The Raiders already have talented players like Tyree Wilson and Malcolm Kuntz, but they still need another edge rusher who can contribute in key situations. As for the Raiders' defensive scheme, I expect them to continue with a versatile look, perhaps a 3-safety formation, 2 linebackers, and a 5-man front, similar to what they ran last season. Walker could easily fit into this system and make an impact. His ability to rush the passer and play linebacker makes him a valuable addition. Lance Zierlein, a well-respected NFL analyst, shared his thoughts on Walker's versatility. He describes Walker as a tweener or a hybrid player. Walker's snap count is split between edge and linebacker, and while he's still refining his instincts as an off-ball linebacker, he's already showing he has the burst and closing speed to make a difference. His most valuable usage could come as an early down linebacker who can also rush the passer on third downs or blitz from different angles. Walker's versatility is exactly what the Raiders need, and it's something that could benefit every NFL defense. The ability to move him around and have him contribute in different roles would add a dynamic element to the Raiders' defense. Another reason Walker could be the right pick at number 6 is his leadership. As a team captain at Georgia, Walker demonstrated strong leadership skills, which are crucial when building a team for the long run. Teams like the Raiders need players who can contribute both on and off the field, and Walker's leadership qualities make him a natural fit for that role. He's already highly respected within his program, and that type of character is invaluable when building a winning culture. Lance Zierlein highlighted how Walker's leadership stood out at Georgia, noting that his influence in the locker room was well known, even on a team filled with talent. While Georgia may have had a bit of a down year recently, it's still one of the top football programs in the country. If they win another national championship in 2025, it wouldn't be a surprise. The culture at Georgia has produced countless successful NFL players, and Walker's leadership could be exactly what the Raiders need to take their defense to the next level. If the Raiders can replicate what players like Brock Bowers brought to their teams, they could be on the path to building something special on defense. If Walker brings the same kind of leadership and impact that Bowers did as a rookie, pairing him with Max Crosby, and this defensive line could significantly elevate their pass rush. With Walker's versatility, the Raiders would be able to bring pressure from multiple angles, and success in getting to the quarterback would follow. Now let's get to the final point: the growing buzz around Jalon Walker being linked to the Raiders. In the NFL draft community, certain insiders and analysts are particularly reliable when they provide information. Lance Zierlein and Bruce Feldman are two such figures who consistently deliver well-informed content. Recently, both analysts mocked Walker to the Raiders at number 6 in their draft projections, which is noteworthy. What makes it even more interesting is that both Zierlein and Feldman passed on other top prospects like Ashton Gentry to select Walker. This is something worth paying attention to, especially considering the timing. These mock drafts came out shortly after the NFL owners' meetings, where rumors and discussions among team executives and scouts can stir up significant chatter. Feldman shared his reasoning behind the Walker pick, noting that while there's plenty of speculation about the Raiders selecting Boise State running back Ashton Gentry, Walker's combination of production, explosiveness, and character makes him an incredibly tempting option. As the 2024 Butkus Award winner, he's already been praised by Georgia coaches and opposing teams for his remarkable abilities. Feldman even pointed out that if the Raiders are looking to emulate the Philadelphia Eagles' success, particularly the way they dominated the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, selecting a game-changing defender like Walker could be the perfect place to start. The Raiders have shown this offseason that they value building through the trenches, and Walker could help them bolster that strategy. Lance Zierlein echoed similar sentiments, acknowledging Gentry as his favorite player in this draft, but also highlighting Walker's unique versatility as a hybrid edge linebacker. He pointed out that Walker's high character and playmaking ability make him an ideal foundational piece for the Raiders as they continue to build their team. Interestingly, both analysts are on the same page regarding Gentry, but the appeal of Walker's hybrid skill set could be exactly what the Raiders need to take their defense to the next level. Given that Walker has already had a top 30 visit with the Raiders and a successful combine performance, it's clear that they're seriously considering him. As a versatile edge rusher and linebacker prospect, he checks all the boxes for what the Raiders are looking for in this draft. With his leadership and his success in a competitive program like Georgia, the Raiders could be getting a player who has the potential to make an immediate impact. The combination of insider buzz, Walker's fit in the Raiders' defensive scheme, and the team's desire to emulate successful strategies from around the league should make these rumors hard to ignore. The smoke surrounding Jalon Walker to the Raiders is real, and it's definitely something to watch closely as the draft approaches.